Hey everybody, Saint Riot, and this is my level 32 versatility build. Sort of a tribute, I guess, to Schwa Akari. Eventually I'll do more with this build, but I'm using him right now so I can show you the basics. Welcome back to Learn to Invade. Today I'm going to go over some stuff that I never really went over before. Chapter 1 is going to be on priority and tide turning. Alright, so let's pretend like there is this clock, right? Or this timer or this unit of fucking measuring something. And it goes from 0 to, we'll say, 4. Okay, now, in the game, there's a very real thing called an invasion timer. And when you're a solo host, like I am now, no Dread Finger, no Phantoms with me, my invasion timer will end. It will straight up go to 0. My unit of measurement will hit nothing, and it will stay at nothing once I've defeated 2 Farron Watchdogs and 1 Dark Spirit. That's all I'm open to. But I'm not very high up on the priority list. I'm like a 1. And the moment I kill these 2 Watchdogs and the 1 Dark Spirit, I'm at a 0, and I'm going to stay at a 0. I'm basically an unembered host until I do something to reset my invasion timer. Okay? Now the only way that you can reset your invasion timer is A, Dried Finger, B, summon a Phantom, or C, reload the world in some way. Basically, if you tried to invade. Now, I don't know for certain, 100%, that sitting at a bonfire does not reset your priority, but I don't think that it does. Should it? Probably. But does it? I don't think so. But it's so hard to tell because once you've been invaded as a solo host, you're pretty much done. So that 1 Watchdog, he runs off and kills himself, and I beat this one, and that's the end. That's it. I'm not going to get invaded by any more Watchdogs. No Dark Spirit showed up, so I went ahead and I summoned a Phantom. And this guy here, he's a Dark Spirit. I forget his name. He invaded me a couple times. He was fun to play with. What was his name? Palefecker, I think. Anyway, I have a Phantom with me, so my invasion timer is at, we'll say, 1.5-ish. Maybe 2. I'm always open for invasion, but I'm not high up on the priority list. I'm still way, way, way down there because it's just 1 Phantom in me. So if you're the invader and you come across this world, you've got to know you're it. Nobody else is going to show up. So you need to be sneaky to get rid of that Phantom. I say that, but you don't necessarily have to be sneaky. Once you get good at actually doing invasions and fighting 2 opponents, you can just fight 2 opponents. But just the spirit's the same. You're it. You're the only one that's going to show up. Nobody else is coming to help you. So always keep that in mind when you're the invader. If it's just the host, or if it's just a host and a Phantom, you're on your own. Deal with it. Okay, now a solo host with a Dried Finger. My invasion timer will never drop down to 0, but it will never go above the 1. I'm always open to what's there. I'm always open to the 2 Covenant-specific invasions, and I'm always open to the 1 Dark Spirit. But the Dark Spirit will never have another Dark Spirit with him. I mean, you could, but it's very unlikely because your priority is still so low. We'll say instead of 1, I said 1, we'll say it's sitting at 2. It's unlikely, but you will always be open for invasion. Now, the minute you bring a Phantom into it with the Dried Finger, now you're open to everything, and you're sitting at a higher priority. This is about a 3, because you've got the Phantom, so you're higher up priority, on top of being embered, and now you've got the Dried Finger equipped or used. So you're always open for 2 invaders, and you're always open for 2 area-specific Covenant invaders. So 4 potential invaders for 1 Phantom. So we're gonna apply this to invasions. We're gonna look at it from the invader side. When there's no way for you to know if there's a Dried Finger active or not, because it doesn't show up in your world like, say, the seed, the tree giants does. But if you invade and you lose and you invade again and you end up in the same 1 host, 1 Phantom world, it's fair to assume that there's a finger active. So if you absolutely wanted to, you could sit around and you could wait for backup. This is, you can imagine like I said, this is about a 3. If I had another phantom with me, if I had 2 phantoms with me, my priority would go up to like a 4. And if I had the 3 phantoms and the, so the dried fingers active, I would be open to the 2 invaders and the 2 covenant specific invaders as well. That's max priority. That's a 5. So that's why you're constantly running into the gank squads. It's why you run into the same gank squads over and over again. So now let's look at it. How do you deal with it as an invader? The answer is super fucking simple. Either kill the host or kill one of the phantoms. If you kill one phantom, the dried finger is no longer a benefit. It's only a hindrance at that point, because it's just leaving them open for the second invader without the benefit of the phantom. Chapter 2, Location Matters. For the rest of these videos, these clips here, I'm going to be back on my level 125 sword and board build. I'm at Irithyll, and I'm invading at the end of the level, and I'm going to prove a point to you guys, so we're going to have to sit through some loading screens. I hope you're okay with that. I'll try and think of something fun to say. I have been listening to a band called The Great Old Ones, and they play sort of like black gaze, shoegaze, black metal, but it's all about the lore and mythos of H.P. Lovecraft. If you're into heavy music, you should check it out. Okay, so we've invaded at the end of the level, and we spawned at the end of the level, and they're summoning a phantom. And let's get this invasion started, shall we, guys? Nope. Just sit through 4 fucking loading screens. As opposed to, let's try invading from the central Irithyll bonfire. Let's see what happens there. Them going through the bonfire and us sitting through 4 loading screens, that's like best case scenario. Actually, it's not. It's middle case scenario. Best case scenario is you find a party who's beat all the fuck and just managed to get to the boss, and you get to be the thing at the end of the level. Worst case scenario is they've unlocked the shortcut, it's a big huge party, they're ready to fight the boss, and you just wander into that shit and get beat to death. It's hard to get people to chase you back into the enemies they haven't killed yet. It's not impossible, but anybody with a fucking brain isn't going to do it. They're just going to go through the fog door. Boom. Invasion 1. You lose. So we invade from the central Irithyll bonfire, and look, the shortcut's not open. There's a whole level left for these guys to play. Now, is this a big huge gank squad? I won't say gank squad, but it's everybody. It's every fucking person you can imagine. But they have a level left to play, so I have a chance. Now they have 2 options here. They can gank me, or they can play the level with me and this guy as constant obstacles. Now, they vote for the former, and we'll watch and we'll see how that plays out. Because this was fun. This is a fun invasion, and for the sake of... oh, that's how you parry a Karthus, boys. Gundar's Halberd's gonna take all the fun out of it, though. Anyway, these guys, they have like an entire Irithyll to clear. Now, I didn't notice it at the time, but let's take a look at the elevator shortcut and see if they've already got that opened. Because if they've already got that open, that explains how the host managed to do what he did. I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you guys see it. But not a single panic roll. Every one of those was perfectly timed. Red's trying to get him through the door so he can hit him with that, and I was trying to bait them so that it would work. I saw a great shield, and I saw rolling, so I thought, well, straight swords beat rolling. So every time he rolled, I swung. That kind of played against me there because I could have totally given the guard break repost and finished him off, but I was too busy spamming. That's why it's not always the best move to spam. Red's keeping me in this. Some well-timed saves. Bleed Karthus guy is garbage. He's not garbage. He's making up for his lack of skill, I guess, with a rouged Karthus. But I think that there's a... Oh, nice parry. I think there's a level of how good you are. You can determine that based on your weapons. You know what I mean? If you know that certain weapons are good, if you know that Karthus Rouge on a Karthus Curve Sword is like OP as fuck, then you're probably not very bad at the game. I got sandwiched in a clusterfuck there when I was going for that R1 spam. But I got an Estus back for my buddy dying, unfortunately. This is a blue spirit. I think it was a dark moon. Try to parry this, but I'm just late. You can parry the charge, or you can parry the big hit at the end. I went for the big hit at the end because that was all that was in range, and I missed it. But like I said, these guys haven't played the level, right? So what does that mean? It means these Pontiff Knights are here. It means this Fire Witch is here. So there goes Great Shield guy. Karthus has reduced himself to just shooting me with bows and arrows. Now that those guys are activated, now that the Pontiff Knights and all that, go for the parry again. Didn't work. Got a partial though. Now that these guys are in the fight, this is becoming a much more winnable situation, eh? So, rolls get roll caught. Here comes the Pontiff Knight, trying to get this blue out of here. I was really hoping he'd go for that shit against, like, just that Champion's Charge. I was really hoping he'd do it, like, right to my face, but I never could get him to do it, and I was trying to bait it out of him. I haven't seen if that elevator shortcut is open yet or not, and I'm just curious for, like, my own sanity. Is it open? Did you guys see? I still didn't see it. There goes the blue. Thank you, Pontiff Knight. All thanks to the trap we activated. And guess what? That dried finger I was talking about, remember how I said it becomes an enemy? Now it's your enemy, because what's happening now? Red Invader's back, and you've got nothing. You've got no one. No one here loves you. Everyone is out to get you. You are dead, sir. Now, the host, he decides to be sneaky goose, and he ran off on us. And I'm not sure where he went. The red was too busy saying hello to look for him. Now, I know where he went. I know where I found him anyway. But thus began the long game of hide and seek. But yeah, this gives me a chance to talk about what I wanted to talk about. Is that shortcut open? Can you guys tell? Because that's where I end up finding him, is down there. But I don't know if he just made a quick run through the level. I don't know if he ditched us and went through the church and ran through the whole level, the Silver Knights and all that, or if that elevator shortcut was open and I missed that it was open. But yeah, this let me go back to the point I was trying to make. One, location matters, because as you saw, they had a level left to play. Their two options were gank me, which ended up being their downfall, because I ran them into the enemies, and we were able to kill one of them, and then two of them, and then the Dark Moon, and then the other, and then the last Phantom. We were able to kill all of them, and so the gank became their weakness, not their strength. So yeah, that was option one, gank me. Option two was play the level with me as a constant, and this other red play the level with us as a constant hindrance to you. So they opted for option one, and I spoke about why that was, why we were able to turn that against them. Because those are really your only two options. You can gank the invaders, or you can try and play the level with them as just this constant obstacle. Now, me personally, I much prefer the second. I prefer playing the second way. It's more fun for me. But man, there's some good heart pumping action when it comes to fighting a gank, so I won't knock either one. They're both fun. I just prefer the first one because it feels more natural to the flow of the game and the level. So I finally see his health over here, and I was like, well, he either ran through the level very quickly, or he's back in the courtyard with the Fire Witch, the two Pontiff Knights, right near the ring of the Firstborn, I think is what it is. He's either in that area, or he's ran through the level real fast. But let me tie this back to Chapter 1. The Dried Finger is now an obstacle, and it's only an obstacle because there's two invaders in your world, and there's no phantoms, so there's always going to be two invaders. Now, the host, he tried to do something smart, and see, now the shortcut's open. He tried to do something smart and just run through the fucking level as quick as he could, but he could have tried summoning again. But with two invaders, that's a little harder, especially two invaders who know what the fuck they're doing. And props to Big Red, because he knew what the fuck was up. Silver Cat Ring. Did you guys see that? That should be its own fucking chapter. And Obscuring Ring should be its own chapter. And then there should be a chapter about using the two of them together. But I won't do that to you guys. So he's run all the way up here. He's run into the shortcut. He's going to open it up, and then he's going to give us some OP spam rolls. What do you guys think? He's going for the fog door. You think he's going to make it? Place your bets now. You have been visited by the Pontiff Knight of Knockdown. Type "Thank you, Pontiff Knight" in the comments, and we will win this invasion. Chapter 3, the Golden Ratio. The Golden Ratio is in reference to Estus. It's gold, get it? And the ratio is 2 to 1, because a host is going to have typically double the amount of Estus that you have, unless they're a spellcaster, in which case it might be skewed a little bit. But always assume that they've got twice as much Estus as you do. It's better to assume that and be wrong than the other way around. So, if you watch any of my other videos, you'll know that I typically don't heal first when I invade people, and that's not just an honor thing, quote unquote honor. It's also a strategic thing, okay? And the reason that I do that is because of the golden ratio. He's got twice as much Estus as me, so the golden ratio is 2 versus 1. I heal right there just to let this guy know this isn't going to be a duel. We're invading because I need footage of this. So, from now on, after that first drink, I'm going to try, and every time I need to drink Estus, I'm going to make him drink too. You guys will notice in some of my other videos that I'm very comfortable fighting with less than full health. And that's a thing that you have to get used to. You have to get used to not fighting with full health. You can't be relying on Lloyd's rings all the damn time. And the reason is because you need to be conserving your Estus. Now, against a gank squad, it is a totally different animal. And if you noticed, I drank right there because I was at too low of health, and he could have killed me with, 2 hits or a really good spell or something, who knows. So I went ahead and healed, even though it wasn't to the golden ratio. But that just means I need to work harder now to get him to use 3 so that I can use 1 or something like that. And you'll see, look, I'm at half health, and I'm not freaking out. I'm fine. As long as I'm getting hits in, there's no reason to drink. So he just drank, but I'm not going to match him with that because he's not hitting me. You know what I mean? I'm just going to keep up the pressure. Nothing he can do is going to kill me from this amount of health. So that needs to be something that you're judging whenever you're doing an invasion. Now, against a gank squad, I think I've started to say this. Against a gank squad, it's different. You're going to be getting Estus as phantoms die, and you're going to be getting 2 Estus as blue spirits die. So you're going to be regaining some Estus. That's one of the reasons why, if you watch me play against a Seed of the Giant Tree, I won't kill enemies, because when you kill enemies, there's a possibility the host can get some Estus back for that, and that skews my golden ratio of 2 to 1. So now that I've gained control of the fight, and I've seen how this guy plays, almost, I'm doing much better at keeping my ratio up. I'm not panic healing, that should be a thing, and I'm winning the trades, not the trades like in duels where 2 people hit each other and whoever did the most damage won. I'm winning the big trades, when he drank Estus versus when I drank Estus. Parry. So the golden ratio is 2 to 1, even if you can't hit it, even if you get the silver ratio. Just be aware that that's what you need to be aiming for, 2 to 1. Guys, thank you for watching. In closing, I just wanted to add that Dark Souls 3 is the only Soulsborne game where the invader uses their invasion item and then gets nervous or worried about what they're going to meet on the other side. In Dark Souls 1, 2, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, when you used your item, you felt like you were this big badass who was going into somebody else's world to just tear shit up. And in Dark Souls 3, we're like afraid for whatever reason. I mean, we get, gun shy, I guess, from gang squads. Look how jittery this host is. Now, if he had 1 phantom with him, he'd be a little more confident. If he had 2 phantoms with him, they'd be pretty confident. If they had 3 phantoms with him, they'd be a gang squad. They'd feel, invincible. I'm not going to hit him for the rest of this fight. This is the kind of confidence building invasion that you need to carry with you. You have to remember that you're the invader. You're the big fucking bad thing going into somebody else's world. And if you're the big bad thing, what is there to be afraid of? Keep that in mind, guys. I'll see you next time. Invader 316 says, we just whipped your ass.